Hello everyone, we're going to go over factions, everything you need to know about factions. I'm going to give you every detail and what you should be picking. So stay tuned for the full guide with me, MrSneakyy. Hello, so yes, we're going to be covering everything you need to know about factions, what factions you want to be picking, why you should be picking them, and the choices and reasonings why, right? So if you enjoy Call of Dragons content, guys, I am an official Call of Dragons content creator. Smash a like, comment, and subscribe to support the channel, and to obviously get that notification when my new guides and videos, and when I do live stream sometimes, obviously goes live, you'll get that notification pop up. So with all that said, let's go into the factions, right? So you do have 3 factions to pick currently in the game. You have the League of Order, we have the Wilderbergs, and we have the Spring Wardens. No matter which one you pick doesn't really determine your starting zone. Your starting zone, when you first start your account fresh for the very first time, will be just random. It'll pick a new server and it'll pick one of the outer regions randomly for you to start in. But you will be able to obviously find an alliance and use your beginner teleport to just jump over to the correct region, right? So don't worry if you're in the wrong region, you can get around it, okay? But before you can even do that, we obviously need to make a choice. We've got a choice between 3 of these factions, which are basically the same as like civilizations or races in other games. And the difference between this game compared to the other games that I've noticed is the units on each of these have unique characteristics, and obviously some don't, and maybe in the future they might be adding that as a additional facility and give them a bit more characteristic as a role, which we've started to see with the infantry and cavalry units, which I will go over in the video. But each of these factions do have a different type of special unit and the way it works, right? So we're going to look at each faction. I'm going to break it down nice and easy. We have obviously the elves, and the elves have a faction bonus similar to any Rise of Kingdoms or civilization game. You have your bonus here, right? So we get a nice flat 5% heal speed and a 5% Legion march speed. And the key word meaning Legion means everything. So this is everything here is classed as a Legion. It just means anything that you've summoned on your your march or your troops. Everything is counted as a Legion. So everything in your army has a 5% movement speed, okay? When you look at the League of Order, the League of Order have a Legion magic defense of 3%, but they have a 10% overall gathering speed. So they're able to gather a lot faster than the other races, okay? And they have that nice little bit of magic defense to go with their cosmetic and theme of obviously being the mages and the human mages, right? When you go to the Wilderbergs, we're looking at the orcs, or like the the Taurans race, the almost like the chaos race and stuff like that. That's a bit of everything. And in here they have a Legion physical attack buff of 3%, so you're a bit more aggressive, and you get destruction engineering by 10%. And what this means is you're really effective in PvP. So you get that 3% Legion physical attack for all your physical attack based units, so anything like archers, cavalry, or infantry. And your destruction engineering means you can destroy enemy flags, forts, barricades, keeps, everything like that 10% quicker than anyone else on the battlefield. So there is an advantage on them being there in the PvP, and we're going to go over a bit more afterwards. But that is all the faction bonuses. Again, I'll put them on screen so you can just have a quick overall overview. We have the elves with the 5-5 split on Legion march speed and heal speed. You've got the faction bonus of 3 and 10 for magic defense and overall gathering speed for the mages. And then the Wilderberg has the 3 and 10 split again for your physical attack and then destruction engineering, right? So once you have seen that, obviously on screen you've got your big starting hero, right? And what this means is whenever you start your account, Whatever your very first civilization is, this will be your starting hero that you will acquire through main quests and other quest lines in the game, and you'll get heads prioritized to them, allowing you to expertise them first and quicker than anyone else, right? There's a really good tip. Even if you later down the line, even when you hit City Hall, I believe it's 9, you do get a free faction change. And when you do go to change your faction, as you see at the top, your starting hero is not affected by faction changes, so you don't have to worry. So if you started with Guanwin, and say you chose to go to the Wilderberg because you wanted to try the Wyvern Riders, because these are a flying marksman unit, and you obviously have your Tauren Spearmen here that are also marksman and rage, you can double up on 2 different units, right? And you can maximize on maybe like Craig and Fear, for an example, on a flying archer march. So when you're looking at your starting hero, the way I would always recommend all the free-to-play players to go is either pick League of Order or Spring Wardens. And the reason why is the starting hero you get is so powerful, and he's going to be with you, honestly, throughout the first season and generally the second and possibly the third season, depending on, obviously, the patches. They might update the patches, so the seasons we currently have are different for you guys in the future. But for the first 3 seasons, you're definitely going to be using Guanwin all the time. You're always going to be using Waldia all the time. So these are 2 units you're always going to be using. Bakar isn't really used as much. I don't see him on the open field, and when I do see him, he just dies immediately. He's too squishy, and he's not really used, or I've seen used well enough in any scenario. So I would definitely avoid the Wilderberg faction to start with, but later on they do come into their own, and we will go over that. But when you do choose, you can choose to have either League of Order or you can have Spring Wardens. Obviously, picking one or the other is fine. You can start with mages and prioritize on your mages start, or you can pick archers and then just start on your archers and invest in into all your archers, right? The difference between all of these things, though, all of the actual races, is these special units, as I've been always hinting through the video, right? And I've been trying to keep it on its own until this stage because it is a bit complicated. It might go over some people's heads, so I'm just going to try and explain it the best I can, as simple as I can, right? So each of the factions obviously have their own units. So you have your own mage unit, which are called the Vestals for League of Order. In the mage units, they are called the Longleaf Treants. But if you can read the blurb that's on screen right now, it does state that the Longleaf Treants, when they are stood still or surrounding friendly legions, they are gaining or increasing the defense of those legions. So you're buffing allies' defenses if you have the tree mages, right? If you look at the mages for the League of Order, it's the exact same style of buff, but instead it allows them to increase friendly health legions' health. And health being the king stat in PvP is really good. When you look at Wilderberg, for example, this is an attack buff, right? So they all have the same style. They buff the AoE around, you know, friendly legions, similar to like a Joan of Arc buff if you've played Rise of Kingdoms, a nice big AoE. And it's going to give them a flat attack buff, or a flat health buff, or a flat defense buff, right? But then when we go into a bit more detail, you can look that you've got the march speed increase on these guys, you have a load capacity increase on these guys, and even on your workhorses on the rhinos, you get extra resources. So you get an extra little bit of bundles that go back to you, right? So each race does have some of its own benefits to pick from, right? And the reason why I'm going over this is because, for example, if you've picked mages, you're good to go. You can stay League of Order forever until maybe they update the game. There's a new faction out. If you're planning to play mages, just stay with League of Order. They give you everything you need. You have a flying mage unit here, and as they stay on their little blurb there that the longer they're in battle and they're standing still, they increase their own magic attack, meaning you're dealing more damage the longer they stood still and the longer the fight goes, right? And it's really good in the Flame Dragon raid, so this is a really good cheese strat to do if you have League of Order. Obviously you've got some other units like the normal attack damage increased by the ballistas. Your knights are the same across all 3 factions, so you don't have to worry about that. So currently they haven't made it so any of these are different, but all the knights do have the same stats and they have the same ability, which is they gain physical attack as the battle goes starts. When you look at archers, like I said, the mages do have a normal attack damage increase, which is really good for archers, and it's a really good reason why they're a really powerful PvP race. When you look at the Spring Wardens, though, your archers increase their physical attack, which is really good again for raiding. Your mages are okay. Your flying unit is a ranged cavalry unit that allows you to fly over terrain, and it shoots with a ranged bow that you'll notice, and it's a really fun thing to do. And this is like, say, your elk riders, should I say, your ranged ones. You can see I've just mixed these two up, I do apologize. You've just got flying cavalry, these are just flying cav. And these guys are your ranged cavalry. It's just, I've been a long time since I've used these. I do apologize. But the thing is with Spring Wardens is, if you pick Spring Wardens, you do get this hero, right? But the thing is, their units, for me, aren't the best for archers. And they're not really great for farming either. The buffs they have are really good. And the 5 and 5. But when you look at the Wilderberg has a spearman, which means when you hit a target, it increases all damage dealt to that enemy. So this is almost like a Minamoto skill 4 combo, but on a unit. So it's a very powerful combo to have on a unit. But your flying unit is also a marksman. So you can run now 2 different archer marchers, one being flying, one being, you know, normal, like ground base. But the flying one increases their own health and skill damage dealt while they're in combat. So it's a really powerful effect to have, again, in the archer tree. So you can switch to Wilderberg if you're archers in the mid game and benefit off this actual unit base, because they've got a really strong unit base for archers. Also, your worker rhinos give you that extra resources, which is really nice when you do exhaust the resource point. So that's why Wilderberg are currently there in my eyes, and why they're still a valid choice to be picked, but not at the start, right? If you want to play infantry, go ahead, pick infantry. I'm not going to try and change your mind. But for me, if you're a free-to-play player or a low spender, even a whale, the best 2 to pick is either League of Order or Spring Wardens. If you want to be an archer player, go elves. If you want to be a mage player, go League of Order. And it's as simple as that, guys, with the factions, right? So I hope I have explained everything to your guys' liking with the special units, even the buffs, and obviously how the starting heroes work and the benefits of having them. So if you're looking for investments in heroes, I've obviously done a video on that as well. I've done other videos on open field combat and guides on events and everything you need to know about the game. So if you enjoyed the video, smash a like, comment, and subscribe. But until next time, guys, stay safe, stay sneaky, and peace out.